Hi, I'm Pastor Andrew, and welcome to this, the third in our series of money talks. Today, we're focusing on spending. I'm glad you're with us. Today, some of us are feeling those very real worries of having enough food to eat, clothes to wear, and shelter to live in. Others are struggling with the pressures our culture adds to having the right clothes, eating the fancy health foods, or keeping up with those around us. We have made choices to try and keep up with how our culture says we should live, and financially, we can't do it anymore. The debt adds up, and the stuff does not make us feel any happier or any more important or any more secure. Yet we still want more. We have looked at the myths our consumer-driven culture feeds us. Now it's time to explore some ways we as Christ followers can follow Christ in the midst of this consumer-driven culture. Just when you're starting to feel good with what you have, you look over your shoulder and somebody's just got a newer model. We love to compare ourselves to our peers, saying, I don't have as much as so-and-so. But have you ever been on a mission trip to the third world country? So often we as Christians in the first world countries go to the third world countries thinking we're going to do good and help so many people. But in reality, the trip ends up helping us more. Experiencing life in a third world country gives us a wake-up call. Seeing the joy and the freedom these Christians have, even without excessive wealth, we come back disgusted with our accumulation of money and possessions. But eventually, we return to normal life. We're back around our peers, seeing constant advertisements and forgetting our disgust for material possessions, becoming desensitized once again. We all too quickly conform to the world around us. Contentment is not a natural trait. It must be learned. We invite you to enroll in the School of Contentment today. God, help me learn to be more content for what I have. Forgive me for the jealousy of wanting more. Thank you for all that you have already given me. Paul went to this school of contentment. In Philippians chapter 4, he says, I have learned to be content whatever the circumstances. I know what it is to be in need. I know what it is to be in plenty. And G.K. Chesterton echoes Paul's words, saying, there are two ways to get enough. One is to continue to accumulate more and more. The other is to desire less. Contentment is the key, but you can easily get off track. These verses from Matthew 6 call us to not to worry about tomorrow, but to rejoice in the food and clothes we have for today, and the God who cares for us intimately. As verse 30 says, if God cares so wonderfully for the wildflowers that are here today and then thrown in the fire tomorrow, he will certainly care for you. There is a practice called tithing. Matthew 6:33 exhorts us to seek the kingdom of God and above all else live righteously, and he will give you everything you need. The King James version of the same verse says, but seek ye first the kingdom of God, and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. The purpose of tithing is to teach you to always put God first. God does not need your money, but he wants your heart. And where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Tithing is a way to test our own hearts. Does our money possess us, or are we free to give it up? Giving is an antidote to greed. It breaks the chains of materialism. It forces us to step out in faith and trust God. It is defying that myth that more money will make you more secure and saying, God, I'm secure in you. I trust you more than the number of dollars in my bank account. But tithing can be scary. When each month can be a struggle to stretch to a paycheck, making a leap of faith to seek God first and tithe sounds crazy. But remember, the God we serve, the God who is a loving Father, already knows all our needs. We do not know what tomorrow holds, but God does, and He provides. Satan would love to hold you back with fear, but don't let him. That is why rejoicing in what we do have and all the ways God is providing for us is so important. Rejoicing is what allows us to step out in faith and return 10%. We'll talk more about giving next week. But when you're planning your spending, it is important to first set aside a percentage of that income for the Lord. Not only is giving biblical, but it is also something that has helped us live financially free to follow Christ. Tithing has been the hardest in the times when we've been stretched thin. We've had to keep remembering that God is faithful and choosing to seek first the kingdom of God. So what if, in addition to giving generously back to God at least 10%, we gave Him access to the other 90% of our income and all our stuff? What if the stuff we already have was dedicated towards doing good and went towards becoming rich in good deeds? What if our home, our car, our tools, our clothes were available to God to bless others? What if we were truly willing to share all? What is God saying to you today? What do you need Him to do in order that you might respond to Him? Where do you feel the conviction to change? God is calling each of us to live financially free and to follow Him in a consumer-driven culture, but that call looks different for each of us. Do you need to resist comparing yourself to others? Perhaps you need to stop a magazine subscription or curb the amount of time you're spending browsing on Facebook. Maybe you know you need to start rejoicing and thanking God for everything He has blessed you with, rather than focusing on what you don't have. Can you start each day this week by thanking God for 3 things that He has given you? Maybe you have never taken a leap of faith to return 10% to God. But today is the day to start tithing. Put your trust in God. See how He provides. Maybe you need to refocus and surrender the possessions to God that are possessing you. Make a list of the items that you are offering up to Him as the owner to use however He can for ministry in the kingdom. As we finish, I'm going to invite you to take a moment now to be silent and to write down the one thing you feel called to do in response to God's call of freedom in your life. Until next time, have a good week.